Are you a first-time homebuyer or someone currently searching for a property wondering which home should I absolutely avoid? Well, after buying my first property and helping many clients navigate the market, I've seen a handful of homes that, in my opinion, you should steer clear of. Properties I wouldn't even consider myself. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what they are so you don't end up being one of those homebuyers who regrets their decision after signing on the dotted line. The last thing you want is to pour your hard-earned money into a home only to discover hidden problems. And worse, some of these problems are completely irreversible. So if you're in the market, use this video as your go-to reference. The first type of home I want to talk about is a flipped property. These are homes that were likely in bad shape. Maybe they needed cosmetic fixes, structural repairs, or major upgrades. Someone bought them, fixed them up, and is now selling them for a profit. And here's the problem. A lot of these flips are done terribly. Many investors out there aren't professionals. They're not contractors. They're not experienced real estate developers. They're just looking to turn a quick profit, and to do that, they cut corners. And one of the biggest red flags, if you can spot issues with the naked eye, imagine what's hiding behind those walls. If you walk into the kitchen and notice cabinets that don't quite fit, gaps in the countertops, or misaligned baseboards, just think about all the things you can see. Electrical work, plumbing, roofing, who knows what shortcuts they took. And here's the scary part. Many of these homes have zero permits pulled. That means no licensed professionals checked the work, no city inspections took place, and no one made sure things were actually done correctly. Now, I'm not saying all flip properties are bad. Some investors do high quality work, but here's what you need to do if you're considering one. Ask your agent to check if permits were pulled. Request receipts for the work done. Get the names of contractors. If they were licensed professionals, that's a great sign. But if no one was licensed, no permits exist, and you're seeing obvious flaws in the renovation, run the other way. The second type of home I always advise my clients to avoid, homes near major streets. This includes properties that back up to a busy road, a freeway, or even a railroad track. Why is this a problem? Because you can't change a home's location. A house can be renovated, upgraded, and improved, but if it's sitting next to a noisy freeway or train tracks, it's stuck there forever. And I can tell you from experience, buyers hate this. Whenever I list a home near a busy road, the feedback is always the same. Too much noise, too close to the freeway, not ideal. And here's why this is a huge deal for you. Resale value. Even if you're not planning to sell anytime soon, you will at some point. And when that time comes around, your pool of potential buyers will shrink drastically. If 100 people are in the market for a home in a certain neighborhood and your house backs up to a freeway, a huge chunk of those buyers will immediately cross it off their list. That means a tougher sale, a longer time on the market, and possibly a lower selling price. Another major red flag, homes built on unstable hillsides. If a home is perched on a hill without proper structural reinforcement or a solid foundation, that's a disaster waiting to happen. Think about some of the multi-million-dollar homes in places like Newport Beach. Stunning properties built right on the edge of a cliff. When heavy rains hit over the past few years, those hillsides started crumbling and entire homes collapsed down the cliff. Some were completely red tagged, and guess what? Insurance didn't even cover it. That means the homeowners were on the hook for all the damages out of pocket. Bottom line, location is everything. If a home is in a bad spot, don't try and justify it. Just move on. The third type of house you need to avoid, anything with structural issues. This includes homes with cracks in the foundation, uneven floors, or walls or ceilings with fractures that run in multiple directions. Now, small hairline cracks where drywall meets the tape, those are normal. Homes settle over time. But if you're seeing large, jagged cracks going in different directions, that's a massive red flag. Fixing foundation problems is extremely expensive and can take months of work. Even after repairs, you'll always have the risk of new issues popping up. And here's the thing, many of these structural problems aren't obvious at first glance. They can be lurking under the surface, waiting to hit after you've already closed on the home. That's why it's critical to hire a professional home inspector to thoroughly check the foundation, walls, and ceilings before making a decision. And at the end of the day, you don't want to buy someone else's headache. If a house has major structural issues, walk away. There are plenty of homes out there. Don't settle for one that's going to drain your bank account with endless repairs. Another major red flag is sagging ceilings. If a home ceiling is drooping, even slightly, it can mean serious structural issues. And if the previous owner removed a load-bearing wall without the proper reinforcements, you could be looking at a disaster waiting to happen. So earlier, I mentioned checking with your agent to see if permits were pulled on flipped properties. But let's take it a step further. You should also check if permits were pulled on any home that's been remodeled or renovated. Now, when it comes to cosmetic upgrades, I personally don't stress too much about permits. Some people want every little thing to be fully documented and done by the book. And if that's you, then absolutely make sure all permits are in place. But for me, as long as the home inspector is taking a thorough look, I'm usually not too concerned. But here's why I draw the line. No exceptions. If structural work has been done, posts removed, walls knocked down, or major changes made, no permits were pulled, that's a huge red flag. Now, I get it. Inventory is sometimes low, competition is fierce, and buyers want to lock in a home fast. But don't do it at the cost of buying a money pit. In addition to structural problems, there are several other costly issues you should watch out for. So for one, old galvanized plumbing. These pipes corrode over time, leading to rust in your water. And guess what? They're overdue for replacement. If a home still has galvanized pipes, you're likely going to be dealing with leaks or a full repipe job sooner rather than later. Next is electrical issues. If a home has old knob and tube wiring or aluminum wiring, that's a major safety hazard. And if you hear buzzing in the electrical panel, that's a huge red flag also. Your inspector should check behind the panel to make sure the wiring isn't a ticking time bomb. Then there's outdated HVAC systems. If the furnace or AC unit is ancient, be prepared to replace it soon. These systems aren't cheap, and if the HVAC is on its last leg, it's a major expense waiting to happen. And then there's old roofs. If the roof is nearing the end of its lifespan, be prepared to spend anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 plus, depending on the size of the home and roofing material. If you're not ready to take on the expense, just move on. And then there's homes with mold or water issues. A little moisture under the sink, it's probably not a huge deal. But if a home has active mold growth or serious water damage, that's a massive problem. Mold is tough to remediate, and ignoring it can lead to worse issues. And then we have homes with flat roofs. A small section of flat roofing isn't necessarily a concern, but if the entire house has a flat roof, that's a major maintenance headache. And don't skip home inspections ever. At the end of the day, you don't want to be stuck with expensive surprises. If a home has a ton of costly repairs, it's just not worth it, unless the price is significantly discounted to reflect those issues. But let's be honest, most sellers aren't doing that. They're not slashing prices just because the house needs a new roof or updated plumbing. So if a home has major problems and the price doesn't reflect it, walk away. And if you're still set on moving forward, then at the very least, get a home inspection, consider a sewer scope if the house has a lot of trees, check for moisture issues, maybe even get a mold inspection. Because the last thing you want to do is buy a home, move in, and then realize you just took on a massive financial burden. Now, I know that some people, especially experienced contractors, can handle fixer-uppers. If you're someone who knows exactly what needs to be done and has the budget to do it, isn't afraid of some major renovations, then sure, maybe some of these red flags aren't deal breakers for you. But for first-time home buyers or anyone stretching their budget just to get into a home, you have to be more careful. Now, I could go on forever about homes you should avoid, but I want to hear from you. What type of problems do you refuse to deal with in a home? What's a deal breaker for you? Let me know down in the comments below. And listen, this video isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to educate you. The goal is to help you make a smart decision when buying a home, so you don't end up with a financial nightmare on your hands. And here's the most important thing. Having the right real estate agent makes all the difference. An experienced agent can help you avoid these issues before they even become a problem. So if you already have an agent, it's fantastic. But if you don't, if you're not covered, just hit me up by phone, email, or text. Or you can use the Calendly link listed in the description below. I'm always available, and I look forward to talking with you.